Hey everyone, in today's episode, we're talking with our guest about how he made the transition from engineer to entrepreneur, how he overcame investor struggles, and also how he might have gotten stuck in Costa Rica for 3 months because he had a child. You have to check out all the details in today's episode. Here we go. Welcome back to The Flock, the place where we dive into business failure and hope to have a little fun while doing so. I'm your host, Wes Rissell, and with me, as always, I have my two co-hosts, Tyler Cope and Josh Bowman. Boys, how's it going?
It's going. I'm making a track record of being late, but here I am. So let's go. I'm excited to meet Pat.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's good. It's good. We've been doing stuff. It's been doing stuff all week, but we're here. I mean, this is a good time.
Josh is doing things. Always doing something. Changing banking is not an easy job.
I haven't been working. Nope. I've been just playing pickleball.
Are you playing or training?
Oh, I'm training. You know me.
Just want to clarify.
Bowman, I've never played pickleball. I'm going to issue a challenge. I bet I can beat you in pickleball first time.
Challenge accepted. Like, let's go. Like,
I'm hammering the over on Wes. I'm gonna put $100 on it.
no way, dude. I've been playing pickleball for like 6 weeks now. Okay.
I don't even know how to play pickleball, guys. How does that even work?
Pat, I don't know. And I'm still confident that I could beat Bowman.
Pat, pickleball, fastest growing sport in America.
Oh, okay. Is that because there's only like 5 people who play pickleball, and then now there's like 20?
Well, real quick, Josh, do you think you could beat me?
At pickleball? Yeah.
All right. I'll pivot my money. I'll still put money on Wes, but I'll 100% put my $100 against you in pickleball. And we will record it. We'll live stream it. And we'll announce the results of this.
Dude, I mean, I'm down. I'm going to feel bad. I mean, because I've been training with Debbie, and Debbie is like 70. Holler, Debbie, if you're listening. And she crushes, okay? She's got me on that topspin game.
Oh, you just learned topspin? That's cute, Bowman.
Can't wait to see your tennis moves not work.
You just wait. Just wait. I also want to make a note that Tyler is offering to put money down on these sports games when last pod he had mentioned how sports betting is the dumbest thing ever. So this is now 2 instances of you sports betting directly after making that comment.
Yeah, but I'm betting on myself. That's different.
Yeah, you definitely shouldn't be betting on sports.
Pat, I agree with that. But the thing is, I have inside information, and I know Josh is terrible at anything related to sports and athleticism. It's an easy bet.
All right, well, let's go into everybody's favorite segment, Fails of the Week. Boys, how did we fail this week?
I can go first. Yeah. So last night, my girlfriend Taylor homemade this amazing dish, a General Tso's chicken, and it's one of my favorite Asian dishes. She got a little overzealous on the peppers, though. I had a visit as part of my work and had to, go to a small hospital room to go talk with different people and planning out some trial things. And there's one bathroom, and that bathroom is directly behind the meeting room with paper-thin walls. And I had fire in my colon the entire time, just holding it off. It was I was sweating. It was a miserable experience.
I know exactly what that feels like, Tyler. So and
I'm eating more of it right now because it's
Always fail multiple times, You gotta keep iterating.
I'll go next. My fail of the week has to do with our daycare situation for our baby. She was supposed to go to daycare because I went back to work this week, and we found out that the person that takes care of the infants is like 85 and can barely walk. And we've pulled her out of daycare. Now, that's a great win on our part for catching it. But at the same time, we're trying to figure out what to do with a 3-month-old as we both start to head back to work here soon.
My fail was so frustrating. I was walking my dog who we trained for a year, 10 1-hour sessions with a trainer, and then like 15 online hours and then whatever. Daily walks for 2 years, about a mile every day. Loose leash walking for the first year, practice, like training, treats, reinforcement, whatever. Thought she was good. Thought everything was great. We were like, we did it. We're the best. It's finally getting nice out. Not only do pickleball courts get crowded when it gets nice, but so does the walking circle with other dogs, okay? Other dog comes around. She sees the first dog she sees, and she just goes, it just starts like howl screeching while pulling. So she's like, oh, I got so frustrated. Physically, like my Whoop detected a strenuous event and told me I was working out. I'm trying to correct her, like pull up on the leash, and she just hits the dirt like a pancake, right? Of course. And then I get really self-conscious and anxious, like, oh no, like it looks like I'm beating my dog. And then my coworker from work is the person who happens to be walking his dog. And then I'm like, oh, this guy's going to think I'm beating my dog. And yeah, it ruined my whole day. And now we're paying for another couple $1,000s of training.
Well, Wes, if you're looking for somebody to watch your kid, maybe not Josh, since he already beats his dogs.
So I'm going to go ahead with my fail's actually not that bad this week. I've had a pretty good week. I was editing a commercial for our site. It took about 17 hours to compress. And after I was done, I thought, this is great. This is great. I misspelled the name of my company and had to redo the entire thing. Cadly.
Oh, no.
It was a lot of time spent.
Well, let's get into kind of the meat and taters here. So Pat is a recent father. He is an inventor. He used to have a car company, and now he is leading the industry with helping people bring their ideas to life. Everybody, welcome Pat Brennan to the show.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you, everybody.
Well, Pat, I know you started in the car business and like repairing cars. Is that right?
A little backstory on that. I went off from high school and went to University of Georgia to study mechanical engineering in their first ever mechanical engineering department. And after about a year and a half, I started realizing pretty quickly that it's like, this isn't for me. I felt like I was doing a lot more, not in terms of mechanical engineering, but somehow in like architectural design and things of that nature. So I dropped out after about, it was a year and a half, right? Me and a couple of my friends got together down in Savannah, Georgia, and we decided, hey, let's build a garage and let's start making custom performance cars. We bought a couple beaters and we started doing engine swaps with these things and found we had to custom fabricate everything and build it from scratch. And we wanted to start scaling outward and getting in customers. And it turns out Savannah's not a great place to start a performance automotive company. So that was the first hurdle.
Why was it not the best place, Pat?
There's a racetrack in Savannah, but there's really only like one race a year. And so, the people who do have fast cars, it's a small, very niche market, and they all know what they're doing. And then the other people are like very wealthy and aren't going to have some kids working on their, Lamborghinis or anything. And so started pushing the realm of like custom modification, building out body kits, and eventually we just ran out of money. That's the first step. Don't run out of money. I know that's been mentioned several times on the show. And so I went back to college after this, and I started studying mechanical engineering at Embry-Riddle, saying I need this piece of paper that says I know what I'm talking about. The time kind of kept passing, and I felt like I wasn't really getting what I needed from the education system. So I started teaching myself how to build code and build things using robotics. And then I started a prototyping company using 3D printers. And then COVID hit. And so my prototyping business quickly kind of slowed down. During this process, my wife, she was a travel nurse working night shift. And we purchased a RV and converted it into a tiny home. And so then COVID hits. I'm trapped in this box with all the windows pulled down because she's got to sleep. Any sunlight would have kept her awake. And so I spent probably a year in the dark.
That's like solitary confinement, Pat.
It was. And I learned a lot from the experience. Eventually, I went to graduate, and I couldn't graduate without a internship credit. It was that, or I take a class on entrepreneurship. And I was like, screw it, I'll take the entrepreneurship class. The requirements were start a business, right? Or make a business idea. In it, I was like, here's my business plan, here for everything for the company. Can I be done, right? And they're like, no, it has to be a physical product. And I was talking about the prototyping company that I was doing. And I said, well, let's just make it an app. And then it exploded from there.
But you ran into some challenges during that process, right, Pat? It wasn't just as simple as you created it and people just came.
The first hurdle, I guess, came along when I went all in. This was my first venture capital business. And so I decided, if I'm going to do venture capital, I'm going to go where engineers, entrepreneurs, and innovators go. I'm going to go up to Boston, where MIT and Harvard is. I got up there, and I was bringing my beautiful idea along with me, where anybody can just upload their product, and we'll 3D print it and send it to your door, right? Well, I quickly found out that exists already. It put me down this really dark path where I was very depressed because I had just committed my life to this thing. And then also it's like, I need to just give up. But then it kind of dawned on me that this is the problem I've been fighting the whole time. Why is it so difficult to bring ideas to life? That genuinely changed my outlook on how I built it. And it kind of allowed me to start pivoting.
You had mentioned that you were feeling down at that
Right.
point. You moved up to Boston, you started pitching your idea, and they're throwing it back at you and saying, this already exists. Despite the fact that you sound like you've been having some traction at that point. How did you come to that realization that this is my life goal? How did you kind of get over that hump?
The point that really kind of triggered it was like when people said, you can't do this, this can't be done. And I said, no, it can. And I just need to figure it out.
Yeah, I wanted to point that out because I feel like so many entrepreneurs go through that mindset where something goes awry and they have to have that internal conversation with themselves to say, am I in love with this idea to keep pushing forward? And sometimes the right answer is yes, and sometimes the right answer is no. But it sounds like for you, it was yes, and that has worked out for you so far.
So far. And if it doesn't, I'm going to keep going. And that's the whole motto of the thing is there's no stopping once you start.
Pat, what was some of the initial feedback you heard from venture capitalists? And then also, what did you learn from that experience of pitching?
So I didn't know what a minimum viable product was when I first started. There are people out there who will say, you can't do it just because you don't have the credentials. That is one thing right out the door. It's going to happen. You just walk away from it and move on because those people exist and you just can't let it get in your head.
I feel like, especially with that group of people, sometimes you have to know all the lingo. Like what you said, didn't know what MVP was at that point, even though you kind of knew what a minimally viable product was. You just didn't know the formal name, which I think sends a lot of really great ideas out the door.
You do have to go the links to learn the lingo. But I think the hardest thing is actually just being able to say your vision, especially when it's not as simple as we sell X to get Y. You have to be able to portray that to other people.
So at this point, you pitch to people in Boston. They say, you pretty much need to find someone who can speak and do the things that you want to do. And you're taking that feedback and you're learning a lot from it. What things did you focus on in order to be able to walk the walk? And I should say more talk the talk in this case.
I did what every engineer would do. And I said, screw you, I'm going to build it on my own. And that was not the right response at all. Do not do that. There is a process of what you should do as an engineer to get through that process. It's learn to convey your idea. And so I taught myself Figma and built out version 1, version 2, version 3 of a demo. And so I was able to at least show what my idea was. And so once the idea was able to be portrayed, I went the friends and family route. Luckily, my mother came in and she said, all right, let's do it. I love this idea. And she gave me the first $5,000 to start going. And from that, I made the mistake of hiring a outsourced development company. Key advice, do not do that. Do not do that. It was a smoke and mirrors kind of app build. They kept giving me a deadline of 3 months from now we'll be out with your MVP. 3 months, and then it kept getting pushed back. Eventually I found out that the person who was leading the team, he wasn't even working for the company. However, he was talking to me still on the company's behalf for about 5 months.
So with the developers, was it like another country that was going to build your MVP for you?
Now, they said they weren't. They said they were based in Texas. There are many companies that will use arbitration in order to say, hey, we're a US based company, we're going to do this, and then they will hire it out overseas.
It's so funny because I feel like we've talked with other people who've had almost the opposite experience. But I guess it's kind of luck of the draw, and that increases the risk, right? When you go outside of your company to build out. So how did you start actually building your end product?
It all kind of started when I found out that my wife was pregnant. And so we're like, all right, let's just do a baby moon. We'll go visit our friends. We went to go leave the country, and they were like, you can't leave. You're too far along. You're going to have to stay. And so we got stuck in Costa Rica, and I couldn't work. at all, and neither could she. And so the only thing I could do was keep working on the company. At that point, I had fired the dev team, and I was like, all right, it's all in house or nothing. I got a bunch of interns, and we kept moving forward. Where we stand now, this is 3-4 months in, and we're looking to launch within the next month on some really big stuff.
No, it's super exciting, and I want to get into kind of more about what exactly your product does. But I gotta ask, how did you get stuck in Costa Rica? Like, why didn't they let you leave?
It was a bad decision. So, first of all, we probably shouldn't have gone down there. But we had friends who were like, "You should do it. The healthcare is great down here." And we're like, "No, we'll come down to see how it is." At this point, I hadn't fired the dev team yet. It was like week 2 that I fired them. Yeah, so we went down there and we're like, let's I don't think it's going to work out. We should head back. The airline was like, she's popping at the seams. And so we said, okay. And at that point, the Costa Rican government will not let you leave with the child. You have to have citizenship in place, a passport in place for both the U.S. and Costa Rican government.
Wait, Pat, how long were you stuck for? Like, how long did it take, like from when you were like, I have to be there, I can't leave, to like you actually left? Like, how long was that?
About 3.5 months. 4 months total. 3.5 was when we were like, yeah, we're stuck.
Wow.
You just recently got back, right, Pat?
Last week-ish.
Well, Pat, as you were going through this process, were there any other noticeable struggles that you ran into that we haven't talked about yet?
The college school system, it's not catered to people who want to pursue their own vision. It definitely doesn't cater you for the real world where you learn skills. Definitely not. And then you go to college thinking you're going to get skills, and you get a piece of paper that says you know what you're talking about. But those aren't skills, and they don't really apply to the real world, especially, no offense to any PhD people out there. They don't make the best, employee. No, I'm kidding.
Keep it coming, Pat. I love it. See, I'm not a PhD yet.
He's about to be.
I do agree with you about the college system, though. So, for example, I started off a communication media major, like Josh over here, and I got 2 years in thinking, I was going to learn some skill and I was going to learn something to actually give me a job afterwards. And I pretty quickly found out that, most of my classes were public speaking, interpersonal communication, things that might be helpful to be a podcaster, but not for what I was thinking I wanted to do.
I know we talked on how well the U.S. school system works. Boys, I have a question. What do you guys feel is the most useless degree?
English. Because it's all I got that's worse than comm studies.
Anything more specific about that, Bowman?
When I was a comm studies major who focused on film and videography, because it was fun, and there were a lot of women in those classes, like, I made very poor decisions. But the only people we were allowed to make fun of were at the bottom of the totem pole. But the English majors who were like into poetry, we knew they were also fair game. Like, English majors who were like, maybe I'll write a book. And I was like, wow, great job spending your money.
I have 2. One is, I think, a little bit more mainstream, and that would be philosophy, like a doctor of philosophy. Because what do you do with that other than teach other philosophy majors how to get your PhD? My more hot take is teaching at a really expensive college, especially in the South, because you get paid diddly squat to go into $200,000-$300,000 in debt.
So you don't like having educated teachers?
I would say you should go and invest into a cheaper college.
I have a good one. This is specific to maybe 3 schools in the country. Embry-Riddle, where I went to college, was one of them. It's a flight science major. So basically, you pay the school to get flight lessons that you also have to pay for. And then at the end of the day, you become a pilot. And so you could just go to a flight school, pay for the flight hours, and then walk away as a pilot. But instead, you get this degree to be a pilot with more debt.
I'm pretty sure my cousin did that. Like, no lie. So, Ian, if you're watching this podcast, sorry, bud.
I know exactly what it is. Exercise and sports science. That is my answer because that's what I graduated with. And when I graduated, I couldn't get a job anywhere. And it took me getting a professional degree like athletic training to get a job. And Wes, I'm pretty sure that was your major too.
I was exercise science. But, the idea was that's the most common major to go into physical therapy.
Yeah, that's true.
So I disagree with you, Tyler.
Yeah, but you could be a philosophy major and then go to PT school.
That's so true. Very true. Well, Pat, why don't we go into you explain a little bit more about what your business does? Like, what is its goal and what's the vision you have for your company?
The statistic is 90% of startups fail. And those are people who actually pursued the idea. We've figured out a way to allow anybody, including like your mom, with a product idea to just upload a description onto our platform and or napkin drawing, something like that. And we will get you to market virtually for free. And we do that utilizing crowdsourced manufacturing and innovation. Designers and engineers who see value in your idea will contribute their time and skills and expertise to designing your product in exchange for revenue on our platform every time it's sold. And then we fulfill those orders utilizing crowdsourced manufacturing. So if you have a 3D printer, you could become one of our manufacturers. And so at the end of the day, we have products being listed on an open market. We have all the information that these guys need to take it to an investor or take it to a large scale manufacturer. They know how many people they're marketing to, and they know their customer demographic. And so within months, you could be scaled up to 1 million units being sold on a weekly basis.
You know, it's super, super exciting. And it sounds like there's a lot of moving levers in order to, you know, bring that vision to life. And what side of that market are you most focused on? Is it getting the innovators side? Is it getting the people with the ideas? Is it getting the people who want to buy things that are on your marketplace? Where are you putting most of your focus on right now, Pat?
It's a balancing act for sure. The hardest thing initially was, okay, well, we have to have some ideas on the platform and products to sell. Okay, that makes sense. But how are you going to sell them? A, you got to have a marketplace, and B, who's going to make them? So we had to build out all three of them generally at the same time. Initially, what we did was start in the manufacturing realm. So we started with the 3D printing stuff. We built out an MVP around like, how do we sell it? Who do we sell it to? And how are we going to make it? And what can we make initially? Because that's the hard thing. It'll scale up over time beyond 3D printing. But in these early days, it's 3D printing, resin printing, and then a little bit of CNC machining. But then we're like, okay, well, now we have to have products to sell. And so the products that are for sale already exist. So that wasn't really where I focused most of my attention on. There are companies out there where people go and upload designs for the 3D printing community. And they sell them, they sell the rights to use them and resell them. But most of these guys are selling their designs for somewhere in the range of like $250 to $25. And that's they sell it once to a hobbyist whenever they want. We're able to tap into that market and give that designer the ability to sell to normal people. And so that's where we're headed next. But we had to have a kind of a showcase also at the same time of like, here's what we can build.
So what they would do is they would upload their, you know, CAD files essentially, and then someone with a 3D printer that was close to them in vicinity would then print it out for them and either ship it to them or maybe deliver it to them. I've utilized a service like that previously for a really crappy water bottle holder that was definitely not manufactured or definitely was not designed by an engineer, because I did it and it fell apart the first time I tried using it. And I imagine, Pat, what I'd be able to do is if I uploaded that to your platform, somebody who knows what they're doing could have made it a lot better than what I was able to.
Right. Well, it's not just that. We have a manufacturer review process. And so this is kind of the bread and butter. This is what's holding back the crowdsourced manufacturing aspect, pretty much in the whole world, is this manufacturing review process where we're able to say, hey, this design isn't right. You need to take it back. We can't scale this. It'll break. Here's the problems with it. And then we send it back to the team or the person who made it. And then they're able to correct those things. And the manufacturer doesn't have to waste their time and money on fixing it.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Something that I wish I had access to when I was creating my weird ideas through our buddy Steve.
Damn it, Steve.
Steve's a fan of the show.
Hey.
Steve's great.
Like and subscribe, Steve.
But it's also funny, too, like the water bottle of Steve, that's all I could think about.
I remember getting it home, being so proud of this creation that I made. And then I use it once, mount it to my bike, and one of the arms just flies off. And I'm like, oh, no.
So I have a friend who every time we're playing a board game or doing something, they're like, I can 3D print that for you. Like they love 3D printing, right? Could they sign up and be a printer? Or are you thinking the people who actually are printers are more like commercial grade?
The way we do it is we have a printer review process where we say, hey, what equipment do you have? What are your capabilities? And then we send them a test print and say, hey, do this. You can make good money with it.
Say someone reaches out, or like a commercial user wants to print 25,000 to sell on like a marketing campaign on TikTok, right? And they want to sell 20,000 dragon lizards, right? Is that something you'll handle now or in the future?
That is a mix of both. So, we can handle the volume sales. We do that utilizing outsourced manufacturing. So we can scale up and become a vendor at that point. But we don't pre-process, bulk manufacture anything ahead of time, and it's direct to consumer, so it's manufactured per order, so there's no supply holdup. So if somebody were to say, I want to buy 25,000 of these, we have a large network of manufacturers where we'd say, hey, would you do it for this? And we quote all of them and come back with the best price.
Super cool.
Is there a way for someone like me, who's neither a manufacturer or a designer of a cool design, to be like, ooh, I want this design, and I want 20,000, lightsaber wielding dragons to be manufactured?
Okay, so you want to buy a bunch of things. Yeah, so that's basically bulk manufacturing. So we would just send the product over to a manufacturer and say, hey, here's a large order, and it happens automatically in our back end. So you wouldn't even notice the difference.
If I did order all those, I saw the design, you helped me find the manufacturer, whatever, how does the person who uploaded that design, how do they get paid?
If they come onto our platform, say your mom does, right? She says, I want to come up with this cup, right? This cup that's never been done before. Somebody help me. She would put out a negotiation request on our platform, and it would say something like, I'll give out 25% to the first 1,000 orders every time it's sold, and I need somebody to come design it. And so we do have a sliding scale, but we also have a fixed rate. If you want to build an actual team and have people on for the long haul, if you see yourself building out a large product, this is a great place to discover team members that can come with you. So you can actually negotiate the terms on early team members and lower the percentage down to, say, 4%, 5%, whatever it is, but it lasts to the lifespan of the product.
So, Pat, how do you guys exactly make money?
There's a lot of different ways. Let's just put it that way. The first way is every time a product is sold, we take a commission on the sale. So we do most of the marketing. We do the platform. We facilitate that. And so we'll take a percentage each time a product is sold. That's our bread and butter. There are a few other ways. So when we mentioned earlier, when the product hits critical mass, when somebody is selling several thousand units, we can get a commission with the manufacturer for introductions. Usually it's not that big, but it's just an introductory fee.
It sounds like your true customer, the people ultimately driving your revenue, are people coming onto your platform and purchasing whatever item is being created or manufactured. So if that's the case, how do people know how and where to find you guys? Because for me, I wouldn't know that you guys exist. So if I wanted, like Josh's example, a lightsaber wielding dragon, I might go to Amazon or to eBay or maybe Etsy or just straight up Google. But how would I know to come find you guys if I'm going to be the person paying you all the money to make your business go?
It's a network effect, right? So say Josh comes up with a product and puts it on our platform and gets it to market. What's the first thing he's going to try to do with that product? He's going to try to sell it. And so he's going to go tell his friends and family. And that's the first step, right? So we need people who are passionate about their products and they want to get them out onto the market.
It sounds like, Pat, you guys have this marketplace, but the onus is kind of on the person with the idea to drive traffic to the site because they're trying to market it themselves. It isn't necessarily like everybody puts up something like an Amazon. It's this person has a specific idea. It's being designed. They're trying to actively sell it. And your platform is what they sell it through.
Right. Well, it's a facilitation, basically. However, once people are on the platform, it's going to become more familiar. It'll be a destination for people to actually go and look for things that they can't find.
It's one of those things that the bigger you get, the more networking effects that you have. And then you become that Etsy where people go for homemade goods, but instead of homemade goods, they're going for idea-made goods.
It's new innovative products. So, I mean, it's things that haven't hit the market yet. And it could be literally anything from dog toys to rocket parts.
As a big idea guy, I love the idea of putting my ideas out there for other people to work on. But also, I have like 3 friends I'm going to send this podcast to and be like, because they have 3D printers and they love printing things. They also love buying other people's printed things. They're all in the ecosystem. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to love this.
All right, well, that does it for the question asking. Let's move on into our next segment, which is Find the Flop. Bowman, take us away, my friend.
Here we go. And this is going to be a short version of Find the Flop. We're going to try something new today, okay? Real quick, though, before we get into it, the scoreboard is the most important part. Wes is at 16, Tyler's at 7. I have -1 for getting something wrong earlier. I still apologize daily for guests are absolutely winning. All right, so today, I'm actually going to list out 4 fashion trends. And I'm going to show you pictures of these fashion trends, which we can later show on the screen. And what you guys are going to have to figure out is which of these 4 fashion trends did not flop. So on this segment of Find the Flop, we're finding the success.
Oh, okay. This is the opposite. I like it.
Yeah.
Are we trusting the guy wearing the turtleneck to be the one that knows what fashion thing is successful?
But he's real warm.
I am very warm. Thank you, Wes. All right, number 1, the armadillo boot. Number 2, 24 karat gold plated leggings. Now, this is fashion trends that continued and received much acclaim. Okay. These fashion trends went up and had a long lifespan, while some of these, 3 of them to be exact, went nowhere at all. In fact, got a lot of shit talked on the internet and bit the dust. Don't exist. Number 3, chocolate evening gowns. These are edible couture chocolate evening gowns.
Does that infiltrate the edible underwear market?
This is ascending above the edible underwear market.
Okay. All right. Just making sure, because that would play a big role into my answer.
Finally, number 4, diamond encrusted fishnet stockings. You must encrust your fishnets with diamonds, or else they're not cool at all.
Give me them diamond pants. All for the diamond pants.
I was going to go with the diamonds, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure now. I'm going to go with the chocolate.
With the chocolate. I love it.
I'm going to go with the gold-plated leggings. It just seems like something maybe, Beyonce would have. It feels high fashion, something I know a lot about. So I'm going to lock that in.
I'm gonna go with Tyler on this one. Actually, I do think the gold is a thing. I remember all of the Super Bowls and everything where that's pretty much what they were wearing.
Love it. Well, let's start out on how wrong we are. Wes, diamond encrusted fishnet stockings. This product faced massive criticism for being extravagantly using too much resources and the ethical concerns regarding the sourcing of the diamonds. Ooh.
Oh, didn't even consider that. Dang.
Lack of consumer interest. Who'd have thought?
Ooh.
The chocolate evening gowns, there were serious challenges around durability, hygiene, and the practicality of wearing perishable garments.
Who would have thought?
That's weird. It's pretty short-sighted by people.
It's 24 karat gold-plated leggings. Unfortunately, these leggings have faced criticism for excessive use of resources and lack of practicality, and they were very heavy and very uncomfortable. They pinch and they hurt to wear for extended period. The only one on here is the one you could absolutely 3D print, which is the armadillo boot style, which continues today in the Museum of Savage Beauty.
Yeah, it looks terrible.
It looks like a hoof.
What if you 3D printed one to make it look like a hoof? That'd be pretty cool.
I think it's already happening. I mean, look at those things.
Incredible. Guys, that was a special trial edition of Find the Flop. We, in fact, didn't, but we had a lot of fun looking at pictures. So
Bowman gets his first point. Congratulations, Bowman. You're out of the negative.
Oh, my God. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who got me here.
All right. Well, let's jump into our last segment here, which is Tyler's quick hitter questions. Tyler, take us away.
All right, Pat. First question. If the seasons never change and you had to live in one eternal season, which season would you choose?
The holiday season. Right away. Christmas.
Ooh, an unconventional answer.
My man's a Stark. Okay. Question number 2. If you lived in the medieval or colonial times, what profession or what profession or job would you choose?
This is actually a difficult question. So, I mean, I'd say blacksmith in the medieval times, but it'd probably be like a tavern owner, or if those failed, I'd probably be the town drunk or something. I don't know.
That's great.
So, question number 3: what historical event that you were not able to witness did you wish you were able to be there for?
I'd say 100 years before the Younger Dryas. I don't know if anybody's a Joe Rogan fan here, but that was when they suspect the Great Pyramids were around and there's a advanced civilization. You should really look into it.
All right, I'm going to pull an audible. I had a list of questions, but I'm actually going to go off script for one. Pat, do you believe in aliens? And if so, to what degree?
I 100% believe in aliens. Now, whether they're ETs from another world or extra dimensional beings, that's kind of where I draw the uncertainty line.
That makes sense. So next episode, we'll talk about our favorite Ancient Aliens episodes. All right, last question. If you were a ghost tied to one,
Right.
if you were a ghost tied to one location in the afterlife, where would it be?
This is actually really difficult for me because I like to go
Costa Rica?
do things, right? So I probably would say the library. So I would have entertainment and also be able to mess with people.
Would it be a university library or like a local public library?
Local public would be fun.
But at the university library, you can mess with the PhD students.
True. They're too busy, though. They wouldn't pay attention.
Not true. I have a podcast. All right. Bonus last question. I lied to you guys. Pat, I know you've done a lot of reading, a lot of business books, probably self-development books. What was the most overrated book that you read during all of your studies?
Tireless. The only reason I'm picking this one is because it didn't resonate with me outside of the parts that did. And I was reading this book on the drive down from Boston to Atlanta. At some point, they just kept repeating the term tireless, and tired, and it just kind of sort of warping in my head on this 18-hour trip. And then they start talking about how your tires are going to explode. And it just kind of like, I was like, I can't do it anymore. I've got to move on.
All right. Thank you, Pat. Wes, take us away.
Well, Pat, thanks for joining us on the pod today, my friend. Super awesome talking with you. Super awesome learning about your company and all the different things you're working on and the different struggles you ran into.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. No, it's been a lot of fun being on here. And again, if you want to find me, Cadly.ai, you can follow me on LinkedIn and help bring your product ideas to life. I really would love to see all three of you on there developing something. I think it would be really fun. And if you want, we could make a show out of it.
Yeah, that could be a fun segment for sure. That'd be really cool. Yeah, we'll definitely have to have you back on, Pat, and then we'll be able to track your progress with Cadly. And well, guys, if you haven't yet, be sure to like and subscribe if you want to. I mean, I think it's a good idea. Bowman thinks it's a great idea. He's all for it. So if you haven't yet, check and do it. I mean, come on, come hang out. But that does it for another episode of The Flop. Everybody, we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.